because you're light behind you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2016 Warhammer YouTubers End of Year Announcement Show Spectacular of Wonder. That's right. I'm going to make the title longer every single year until eventually it's so long it is just the entire show reading the announcement. But I am joined by my illustrious panel here today, and we are going to announce the categories for this year's 2016 End of Year Awards. So I'm joined by William Page and Kieran Dunleavy. Will, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. This is going to be a great year to look at all of the nominees and see who wins.
Absolutely. Kieran, how about yourself?
Well, I kind of missed what you said there because I was trying to imagine what the acronym for your title was just a second ago, and I couldn't do it. So
I'll have to go back and listen.
Somebody out there in internet land, re-listen to that in a bunch of loops and see what you put together.
So yes, today we are going to announce the categories for the end of year awards. So we're not doing the nominees yet. That's next week. And the reason we're not doing the nominees yet is because we don't have all the nominees yet. Because you're going to help us. That's right. Mind blown. That's right. As always, we don't decide these nominees by fiat. We don't have the authority to do that. This is the Warhammer YouTubers. The strength of it is the community. And so we need you, the community, to help us with the nominees. Of course, we have some ideas, but we're looking for your suggestions on what you enjoyed in all these categories. And we want you to put that down below. Give us the who, what, when, okay, for all these categories, what you really enjoyed. Let your voice be heard. They'll end up on the nominee list. And then if the community itself decides again, because of course this is all nice democratic voting, once we go live, then perhaps they will be the winner. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go round robin, announce the categories, kind of talk about what they are, and then it'll open up to you to put down in the comments below who your picks are for each category. And then next weekend, we're going to get together again, the three of us, and we're going to do the official nominee announcement show. We'll be opening envelopes. It's going to be very exciting. Forget the Oscars. Throw that out. Garbage. This is where it's at right here, okay? That is the nominee. Yes, exactly.
Did we decide if we're wearing tuxes for that? Or just waiting for the finale announcement show in January?
I think it's the finale show need the tuxes. Yeah, the actual award show. For the announcement show, that's more cash. Yeah. Right, for the nominees. Yeah,
Sunday's best.
Exactly. There you go. Maybe a business casual. Yeah, absolutely. And so in between the nominee announcement and the end of year will obviously be the voting. We'll talk about that more during the nominee show. One more quick thing I do want to announce right now. If you had seen my previous video, if you're watching this live before the end of the year, my topic of the week this week was the Christmas giveaway extravaganza. Warhammer Weekly is doing a nice event for charity. If you have the means and would love to donate, I would love it if you watched that video and gave. The cause is UNICEF. It's a great cause. They help children around the world, especially who are victims of violence and refugees, etc. If you don't, I would just love it if you go look at that video, share it in your own social groups and stuff like that. No pressure. If you do not have the means, do not give. It's perfectly fine. But I would love it if you share the video, give it a like, something like that. So there you go. Quick mention of that. Let's return back now to the YouTuber Awards. All right. So our first category, I'm kicking us off here, gentlemen. Are you ready? Are you excited to talk about these categories?
There's been so much good stuff throughout this whole year. We could probably talk for hours about it, but we'll try to keep it short. But
yeah.
Yes, fire it up.
All right. So the first category, I suppose it's maybe the most obvious because it's kind of what brought the community, I think, together initially, right? And that is Best Battle Reporter. So, battle reports are still sort of the glue, the mortar that holds the Warhammer YouTubers together. As a quick note, I saw Mr. Matiram reposted a battle report today, jumping back into it for the first time in a long time. So we're happy to have you back. And that's just another example of how the battle reports continue to be something. I know I watch a lot of them every day for a lot of different games, and I love it. And so this is who's making the best battle reports. That's what we want to see. Throw that down in the comments, your pick for best battle reporter. I think, yeah, it probably doesn't need much more explanation. You know what it is. You've watched it. All right. So we're going to go to Will here for the next category. Will, what's our next category?
All right, for the second category, it's best AoS content, and that differs from battle reporting just a little bit. You still want to talk about the game. You want to talk about maybe these are people who examine the rules of the game, the different phases of the game. Maybe just talk about some of the how the models interact, just the various aspects of the game itself. I know AoS is pretty new, but I know already out there are several different channels. They're attacking it from different angles, whether it's a narrative or a gaming perspective. So that's what we're going to look for in the best AoS.
I love it. Totally agree. Absolutely. There's a lot of great channels making a lot of great stuff. I would give a slight mention, as I mentioned before the show, of say like maybe a Mr. William Page, this guy you might have heard of, who does this great AoS close-up series. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. You tell me.
Good nod. Worthy.
All right, Kieran.
Right. So category 3, very similarly, we want to look to the best 9th age content. And there's a lot of things and a big spectrum that we can really talk about here. So again, I want to distinguish that we're not talking about battle reports, but 9th age throughout this year has had its growth, has had its changes, has had its very first ETC under the 9th age. So there's a whole lot of content out there with regards to tournament stuff, but also think a little bit deeper too about what you watch regarding 9th age. And that might be army list construction advice, examination of units and their worthiness in the game, rules changes that they've made, because they have done a couple of evolutions of it over the course of the year. So there really is plenty out there, and it's a pretty broad spectrum as far as content goes. So think back upon that over the last 12 months, and I'm sure you'll have plenty to look at. But do pick out your favorite, the one who speaks to you, the one that delivers the most evocative content and the stuff that's most valuable to you. That's the ones we want to hear about your nominees for.
Absolutely. And you're dead on there. You know, I think of like the iteration changes, right? 1.1, 1.2, and when people do a lot of breakdowns of like the changes, stuff like that. So
yeah. And you can certainly look back to ETC stuff that's beyond the battle reports. I know that Chai Hammer did lots of battle reports for it, but he also did, sideline stuff and behind the scenes action. So think about that.
Yep. All right. So next up is a category. Well, you might say it's near and dear to my heart. I think if there's anything, obviously, most people who follow me know what I really love about the hobby and where my heart is, and that's in the hobby. That's in the hobbying and the hobbyism. And so, of course, this category is best hobby advice. And there's a lot of strong contenders out there in the community for this. There's a lot of people doing great, great hobby advice. So absolutely, those people who help you and instruct you on various techniques for painting, who show you miniatures from start to finish, who give you better advice on building bases and stuff like that. Whatever it happens to be, the hobby's big and there's a lot of different elements to it. And hence there's a lot of videos around it and a lot of channels making those videos. So best hobby advice. There we go. I think most people probably have a couple favorites they rotate through. I know I do. All right. Will, back to you, sir. Next category.
All right, for the 5th category, we have the most thought-provoking content. And I'm just thinking, I'm just amazed about how the community has evolved. Because like when it first starts out, it makes sense that you're going to make videos about battle reports. Then maybe the next step is to talk about hobby advice, because they're like the main things you think about when we talk about wargaming. And then when you want to expand your content, of course, you go back to looking at the game itself. Well, we have done so much as a community, and we have evolved so much to the community that we can now go beyond that and talk about things that are peripheral to all those things. People who talk about maybe the economics of wargaming, maybe talking about some of the social issues of wargaming. One of the first things I think about is about women models that has been brought up quite often this year and last. So this is a category for that content that still deals with wargaming, no matter what wargaming we're talking about. But doesn't necessarily have to do with the battle report, doesn't necessarily have to do with the content of the game, but really explores things from different angles, maybe more of a philosophical approach. And I think there are quite a few of people who are delivering that type of content out there, and we're looking forward to see what the people think is the best.
I agree. Yeah, it's, you know, the way, like I mentioned, the way I think about it is those channels that encourage a discussion, right? That's those videos that really are more about the discussion rather than the video being the end of it, right? Yeah, 100%. All right, Kieran, back over to you, sir, for I think a very important category, especially for people like me who are always thirsty for more YouTube content.
Right. So category number 6. Can I get all my fingers on here? 6.
There you go.
This one is labeled as the most consistent content. So to qualify for the most consistent content, as Vince says, what we're looking at is people that are at it with regularity. And as a YouTuber, sometimes that's a challenge in itself, so deserves this kind of recognition and reward. From my own perspective, I find it that I get back in there once in a while, and I might go at it for 3 or 4 videos in a couple of weeks, and then dry spells for ages. Others I've seen this year have jumped on board with YouTubing for the first time, but then not kept up with it. So we really want to give a nod to those that are coming at you with, whether it be a combination blend of all the things we've talked about so far, thought-provoking content, battle reports, other content, discussion, etc. Doesn't matter what it is, but the thing you're going to look for here as a nominee for this category is the ones that you can go back to just about every week, and hey, that guy's got something new, and that's what we're looking for.
Yep, absolutely. It's really true. It's one of those things that, consistency is key, and it can become a bit of a grind sometimes. Of course, a lot of YouTubers who regularly post will say that, but those who do and manage to keep up and keep delivering great content, we want to recognize them. Mm-hmm. All right. Category. No, I'll do the Kieran here. Number 7. There you go. The category, the 7th is best new series. You mentioned some new categories that are new people, who have come about this year, who have jumped in. And what's great is the hobby world, the wargaming world of the Warhammer YouTubers has really expanded beyond its initial sort of conception a lot. And there's a lot of people jumping in, doing new stuff, doing new series. And so this is the recognition of them, people who've jumped in, done something really cool and new. And we want to see what are those new things that you're really enjoying. And we want to recognize those people so that we can get over that hump that you just mentioned of like where somebody does start doing something new and maybe doesn't get recognized and so stops doing it. Nope. We're gonna recognize them, call them out, and show them we appreciate that new content, and hopefully they keep making that great content. All right. So Will, back over to you for the last 2 categories. This will be Will and Kieran taking the last 2, which are a little different categories.
All right. So our next category is called Best Painted. Now, it's really important when we talk about Best Painted, we are a PMP-based community. So the people who are going to be up for this need to have their pictures come from the PMP webpage that we have. What is it called? Google Communities, I think, for us.
Yeah, the PMP Google Plus. Yeah, the Painters Motivating Painters, which I'll have a link down below if people don't know what I'm talking about.
So yeah, so just submit people that you think excel at painting, inspire you with their works of art, and we'll have all their names out there, and we can I guess have people vote, and we're going to see who does the best. Now it's going to be interesting because a lot of people have different styles of painting, so this is a completely subjective category. Lots of great talent out there, so I do look forward to see what ends up being on top.
Yeah, and similarly, for category number 9, jeez, I'm not centering this very well, but this is my hands are too big for this game.
Sure.
All right. So for category number 9, we are looking at best conversion. So once again, the criteria are that it appears in the PMP community history sometime over the past year. So scroll all the way back to January of this year. And get yourself some popcorn and a mug of ale and sit down there and scroll through and prepare to be amazed for a couple hours. Every time you see something super amazing, make a mental note and bring that nominee into the notes of this video so that we can consider it for a nominee for this activity. I don't know if this bears explaining, but I'll do it just the same. A conversion is not necessarily a done painted model, right? It can be something that is very creative and outside of the box, and maybe it's something you never would have thought of doing, that you put together. Last year's winner, Marok Wolf, is a master of green stuff, so he's sort of made his fame that way. But there's a lot of other creative guys out there that have slapped models together from 40K bits onto fantasy bits that I can think of, and various other creations. And we want to recognize those creations of that aspect of the hobby too. So please do a little bit of homework, and let's get those people some recognition.
Yep, I agree. And that's a really good note, because the best conversion, it could be painted, obviously, and finished, and that's fine, but it doesn't have to be, right? Whereas for best painted, obviously, it has to be a done model. You can dig through the end of month submit and look at that. In either case, you can either give me the who, what, when down in the comments. Like, you could say, as an example of one that I'm pretty sure is going to be a show up, you could say Mickey Jenvers finished, Mistweaver Say, right, from last month or something like that. Which is certainly going to be on that list, because I know I myself am nominating that one. I mean, that was absolutely stunning. So you could just list that, or you can actually link to the posts. If you go up in the top right, you can grab when you click on the little down arrow, there's a thing that says link to post. You can grab that link, throw that in the comments, and you're good to go. Okay. Either one is fine. I'll find all of them and aggregate them all together. So there we go. There is one more category though, but this one you can't get nominated for. No.
Ooh, that's secretive.
Exactly. All right. So the last category, number 10, the last category is best overall. And the best overall is the truly democratic of it. It is done solely by aggregating the person or channel that got the most votes over all of the other categories. Okay. So whoever gets the most votes over everything wins best overall. Because the reality is, as we've gone through these categories, I think in your head, you probably recognize that there are some people who play in more than one of these spaces, right? There are people who do battle reports, but also post maybe some hobby advice and also do some thought content, right? Or stuff like that, or whatever it happens to be. And so we want to recognize those people who really have who have the broad footprint. And so best overall is somebody who's clearly been contributing across the spectrum to the community. And this is that recognition of them. Okay. So that is best overall. That one will simply be an aggregation. Like I said, once the votes are tallied, I go through and I just count up how many votes everybody gets. It's that easy. As one final note, all categories, when they go up next week, will also have a write-in, like a blank, nomination where you can write in somebody on your own. So every time you vote, everybody, even if your pick or whatever or you don't get it in on this video, you can always write in your own selection, and that's perfectly fine. Okay. So there we go. That's the announcement of the categories. Like I said, next week will be the nomination once we aggregate this all together. Gentlemen, any closing thoughts for this announcement?
I think that just like last year when we put this together and we did this announcement show and then the nominees, I spent a lot of time leading up to Christmas and over my holiday time watching a heck of a lot more YouTube than I did in the previous part of the year. And I'm kind of looking forward to doing that again, because people are going to tip me off to things that I haven't stumbled across yet. And I think that's going to be wonderful.
Yep, I agree. It's that time of year. You got some vacation time maybe going on. Why not cozy up next to the fire and watch a lot of YouTube content? I love it. Absolutely. Look back at a great year. And one thing I'll say, it was true last year. I know it's going to be true this year. Really, it's an embarrassment of riches. There are so many great members of this community doing so much great stuff. It's almost impossible to actually get through it all. That's what I'll say. So, yes.
The final thing I want to say is I want all of your viewers to know that the democratic process was all thanks to me. These two tyrants here came up with this like ridiculously overcomplicated electoral system. And I was like, no, we're not doing it that way. So I want everybody to know that you guys have me, the people champion, for that.
Yeah, we were going to have
Proletariat.
an electoral college set of borders, and only people from Ohio could vote for a particular category, and only people from Texas could vote for another, for example.
There'd be a whole other week of like nominating your electors.
Canada could veto any of those.
Right. We'd have a primary run up. We're gonna make. You're right. I'm glad you were here, Will. We were making it way too complicated, but Will was here to return us back to the simplicity of a sort of Athenian democracy. Yes, way to go.
I also can't remember how early in the process we eliminated the whole knife fighting idea for
it's a shame too, because I was really looking forward to that one. It was going to be very very Michael Jackson, beat it video style or whatever, right? Where you like tie your two arms together and that kind of thing. Yeah. I was pretty excited about that. I was looking forward to it.
Would have made it for some great YouTube.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you very much, Will, Kieran. I appreciate it. You'll see us all back here next week with the official announcement of the nominees. Until then, you have all week to drop down in the comments below your nominees for any of the categories. I will list the categories in the description as well, so you don't have to go back and like scroll through this video. They'll all be there. As I said, you can either give me a who, what, when, or link to the post, or link to the video. Anything like that's fine. I don't care. It doesn't. You can be as whatever information you like. We'll find it. And beyond that, thank you very much for watching. We're super excited about the awards again this year, and we'll see you next time.